And Jamil Jaffer, now the founder and executive director of the National Security Institute. He has also held several positions with the Department of Justice. Okay, Jamil, I said this a moment ago, clear as mud. We did learn some things today, but we have a lot more questions. What stood out to you reading the redacted affidavit?
Well, I think, Marty, the most important thing is that the material that first came back to NARA that triggered this whole investigation and the search warrant at President Trump's residence included 25 documents that were marked at the top secret level, some of those containing SCR, sensitive compartmented information markings, including the human control system, that means human source information, and SI, special intelligence or signals intelligence information from wiretaps or other types of computer surveillance.
You know what stood out to me, and this was through one of Trump's attorneys in the affidavit. He said the boxes of classified documents were, quote, unknowingly included among the boxes brought to Mar-a-Lago by the movers. When you consider the careful and delicate process of handling, securing, moving, and having the process of classified documents, how does that ambiguity happen? How do we not know at all times where everything is? It's kind of a basic question, but I haven't really heard a clear answer.
Yeah, well, you know, Marnie, it's unusual. You don't typically have classified materials in with unclassified materials, and certainly not top secret or SCI materials in with unclassified materials. Sometimes it's possible you could get stuff mixed up. But here's what happened, right? So they found this stuff. It was improperly mixed in. Fine. It got sent back to NARA. That doesn't explain then why is all this material still at Mar-a-Lago? Why, when the FBI went back with the search warrant, did they find a whole bunch more boxes, 11 sets of materials with additional classified markings on it after they'd figured out that some might have been mixed in there? That's what's confusing about that statement in that prior response and now the president's current situation.
Let me ask you this. Based on reading what we did today, does any of this information release jeopardize the investigation for the DOJ, put any witnesses in danger?
Well, no, I think they did a very good job of redacting out that information. But the problem, of course, is it doesn't tell us a lot about what they knew about what might still be at Mar-a-Lago. It doesn't tell us why they think that. And so in a lot of ways, it hasn't really buttressed their support for the investigation at Mar-a-Lago, for the search warrant. And so the president's still able to take shots at them for saying this was political. They have demonstrated that there was classified material in the prior set that was sent back to NARA. But of course, we largely knew that already.
I think everyone can agree, Jamil, that this has been an unprecedented process, an unprecedented search. Will it push the DOJ? Will it put pressure on investigators to file charges, criminal or otherwise?
Well, you know, that's a really interesting question. I think the Justice Department, having now served a search warrant at the former president's residence in an unprecedented manner and taken back these documents, now has to say, look, do we want to prosecute, right? Is it sufficient that we got the material back and it's now secure? Or do we want to go after the president? They almost certainly have evidence to suggest that this material was improperly kept and improperly stored. But do they want to get in the political battle with the president in court and the legal battle over the question of did he or did he not declassify them? This is going to be an uphill battle for the Justice Department. They sort of had to know this going in. They clearly thought getting the material back was more important. Now the question is, do they bring charges? And either way, whether they bring them or don't bring them, are they going to be accused of politics? And how do they get out of that box? It's going to be a very hard one for them, Marnie.
Right. The mess has been made. Options for the Trump legal team right now?
Well, the Trump legal team's probably best argument is, one, he didn't know they were there, but of course that's challenged now by the fact they sent a subpoena. They told him they still thought he had documents. That's a hard argument to make. His best argument probably is, I declassified them. But of course, if he didn't imbibe that declassification in some sort of writing or told some folks, it's going to be very hard to make that argument. At the same time, the president does have broad declassification authority. Justice Department probably doesn't want to get into that fight in a court of law. Tough scenario now for both sides, I think, on this one.
Well, and real quickly before we run out of time, the special master situation, help for people to understand that legal ramification and request.
Well, you know, the question is now, how do we deal with all this material and how do we think about the process going forward? And so the Justice Department is looking to figure out how to address this issue. And that's, I think, part of what's going on here with the special master.
All right. Jamil Jaffer will continue to follow it very closely. We've learned some today, but the questions remain. Always appreciate your time. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, Marty.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.